All right, with my awesome paring dagger, I'm going to offer my summary and first impressions of the machine now that it's fully assembled and we've going to have a total look at things. So first off, it's a great impression. The packaging was very good. The assembly was very good. And the overall quality, fit and finish is very good. Design-wise, I have some nitpicks, certainly. And I'll have some suggestions for those as well. But starting off with the package itself and the delivery, I think that if you have two people, very easy to team lift, even going upstairs. If one person, the weight is manageable if you're strong, it's 80, 90 pounds, but the package is too large, it's too bulky, so it's very awkward to manage with just one person. I struggled, I basically had to roll it up the stairs, like flipping it onto the next stair, just to avoid throwing my back out or doing anything crazy. What I realized afterwards, though, is because the nature of this machine, where it ships in two parts, the package is two half packages with the gantry and the bed separately. So if you are a little less strong and you want to get this somewhere by yourself, simply open the initial package and carry each half separately, and that should be extremely manageable for almost anybody. So that's a kind of a pro tip there. That definitely is an advantage with this type of machine over like a Carvera or other options out there where they come as a discrete thing. The Carvera Air is actually quite heavy, and you just have to take that up the stairs. There's no other way about it. With this, you kind of have that option of splitting it in half, which is nice. So that was good. Packaging was great. The assembly, flawless, easy instructions. Lots of extra hardware, lots of extra parts, so very happy with that. I mean, everything, I have really no issues to raise with quality, fit and finish. Everything assembled seamlessly. The only thing is really the trim router. The quality of the collet is atrocious. I don't really have a strong feeling about that because the nature of this is a very cheap unit, and the collet and the collet nut are also very cheap. They could be much nicer inherently with I'm not sure, but I think that inherently the way that these trim routers are manufactured, they take a lot if you want to get them really good as far as run out. So it's probably not cost effective to make a better trim router. What I would love to see is offer this with the VFD spindle from the first place. And that brings me to my sort of observations and potentially suggestions for if we ever see a version 2 of this or potentially a future model derived from this. So number one, obviously the spindle, the router, it's really useless for serious metal workers. That's got to go. I effectively, right, if you're a customer who's buying this, you're paying for the router and then you're going to immediately upgrade it, so you've wasted that money. So it would be better to have the option to entirely skip this. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, and I don't have the VFD spindle yet, but I will be getting it, and the AnoleX branded one, which is very similar to all of the import VFD spindles. Theirs is ER11. Now I know G-Penny and some of those other vendors, which are similar, they do offer an ER16 1.5 kilowatt, 65 millimeter outer diameter. There's no reason to choose ER11 over the ER16. I think it's probably fine for most people. At that point, when you have that upgraded spindle, the weak link in the kinematics and the rigidity, I would not start there, but the ER16 is just better. It really doesn't cost anything more. So there's no, if there is a choice, on the machine builder side to choose ER11 or ER16. There's no excuse to choose ER11. You should choose ER16. That would be my input. Moving from there, the spindle mount is very thin and spindly. It is too small, it's too thin. Just make it a big old block. No reason to subtract all this material. And what I would love to see is a two-piece steel version where you have separate front and rear and then bolts that go all the way through. I think that's the best for rigidity, and critically, the important thing that is missing on this machine is when you have an indicator with a magnetic base like this, you need somewhere to put it. There's nothing except the motors even. The motors are weakly magnetic, so no, that's really not it either. There's nowhere to magnetize this anywhere on the machine, so you can't use it in the normal manner. On larger machines and even like the Harbor Freight mini mill, this can be stuck onto the machine. The whole thing is either cast iron or steel. So having steel at the spindle is actually kind of a critical use case for this, which is a very typical thing. So we'd really love to see steel at the spindle clamp. And then that brings us to the next piece, which is the Z assembly. The adjustability in the height due to the extrusion used is handy here. What would be better is a design that of itself allows for maximum passage to whatever the height of the gantry is, so that the Z doesn't stick down. And then you have beefier clamp, so then the spindle will stick down, but I'd rather have that and have a solid Z assembly. That's just one huge piece of aluminum. I think that's generally going to be more desirable. I don't feel as strong about that. I think the flexibility here is worth something. But what is not worth something is having this cover, which requires the Z assembly not to be directly mounted to the X bearing blocks, but then there is a C channel, sort of a pass through, and then sort of a weak link back here between the spindle and those bearing blocks. The goal is to transmit the forces in as short of a path and through the most rigidity as possible. So having these this joiner plate that's kind of has a thin connection there is really not the best for that. You want the Z mounting directly to the blocks, and don't need a cover like this, but what we would like to see is some sort of bellow system. Even if it's the rubber foldy bellows, that's okay. We would love to see telescoping, even if they're plastic, but telescoping metal bellows would be the very best, of course. But yeah, I think one of the first modifications, if someone is going to start doing things, is to remake the Z plate solid, remake the spindle clamp a big chunk or two pieces steel, and then bracing the uprights. Those are kind of first orders of business, in my opinion. Which brings us to the uprights. They are fine. They're a little more beefy than I thought, but if we look at everything here, they could really stand to be thicker. They are 10 millimeters. They should be at least 20, if not 30, and the same size. That would really take care of things. And of course, also for the X gantry, which is a single piece of extrusion, it would be great if there was, maybe it doesn't have to be completely solid, but if we have this extrusion piece, we have 20 millimeter, 30 millimeter uprights, if we could have a further backing, maybe 2 bars of, say, 30 by 30 or 20 by 40, something of this nature, at the top and the bottom, to run that span with some solid, really rigid chunks, I think that would be better. We just need a little more meat back there, and then I think the meat there, and then having thicker uprights, that would be really excellent. And that brings us down to the table, which is fine. I would always love to see a thicker table. I think 10 millimeters is generally going to be adequate. 15, I think, would really be adequate. The one thing about the table that I am going to nitpick is the spacing. It's 45 millimeters between center, and it's a 10 by 9 grid. I don't really know why they've gone so coarse. It's not really a standard. It's not based on anything. The only standard that's out there, as far as I know, which in my opinion would be better, although it costs a little more, is the Saunders fixture plate, which is 20 millimeters to center. I would just go with that. Or 40. But not, 45 is weird, because the thing is, if I wanted to modify my bed to be compatible with Saunders products or similar, or to have a more dense grid, which actually you really want. These are kind of an awkward spacing where some clamps don't have enough travel range to go between the scap. So you kind of can get into some weird situations. You want finer adjustability. If you even did 40 between centers, what that would allow for is potentially using some Saunders products if they're in multiples that fit, or also being able to modify the plate using the machine, which is absolutely an option. And therefore, what you could do is add the rest of the holes if you wanted to. If it was a 40 by 40 grid, you could make it into a 20 by 20 grid. It involves a couple things, but it's very doable, and I think some people would absolutely choose to do that. So that's the one thing there. As for everything down here, generally pretty good. Extrusions are fine. Again, more meat, the better. I think if we could see 20 millimeters on the front and the back, again, be awesome. With the extrusions for the Y, I think honestly it's pretty much fine. It's a good candidate to do a granite pour. Although I'm thinking about going that way. I don't really know, we'll see. But having more solid chunks of material is always going to be superior, is the thing. Same thing, so moving down underneath, the biggest thing, and actually this is true for mostly X and Y, also Z, but mostly X and Y, the ball nut, we want to see double nuts that are preloaded against each other. That's kind of industry standard for more serious milling machines, and I think any milling machine would benefit from that. The cost is pretty minimal for what you gain. So I'd really like to see that, as well as thicker brackets. I think it's adequate underneath here for the rest of the machine. But again, if we could just, honestly, kind of what we're looking at here is take care of the choices at this with the spindle clamp and with this cover, and then just beef everything up. 1.5 or 2 times thicker, and this would reach another class again. And even if cost goes up accordingly, that is well worth it, in my opinion. So anyway, these are just some sort of spitballing, brainstorming, my sort of first knee-jerk reaction to what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling, having just put this together. Overall, really happy. Really kind of pleased with how that was and how things are looking. So that kind of concludes my thoughts on the machine at this moment. What will be next is I'm going to be doing some cutting with this one flute tool and the trim router. Now I have the closed loop steppers and the VFD 1.5 kilowatt kit arriving shortly, and honestly I'm not going to dally and mess around with this system for much time at all. I'm just going to put those things in right away, because I know for a fact that this run out is absolutely not any good. 2.5 thousandths, or what's that? Oh gosh, 0.2, almost 0.3 microns, 0.3 millimeters. That's unacceptable. It's really unusable for any serious metalworking. So I'm not going to waste time. What I will do is compare the cutting potential with a 1 flute tool in aluminum, just to kind of have a rough baseline of what you could expect or compare it to the Carrera Air. If you're using this machine for not very fine work or for woodworking or other things, this is potentially okay. It's not great still. And the other thing is the workflow, having to manually turn on the spindle each time. I find that really frustrating too. So there's more than one reason to go to the VFD spindle, right? But that precision is essential to have any sort of consistency. So what'll be next is we're going to do some really rough sort of just testing in the stock state out of the box. And then we're going to put the new spindle in, have a look at the tram, get everything dialed in properly, and then we'll be able to start really benchmarking this machine and seeing what it can do, running some real programs, getting used to the workflow and all that. So that's going to come soon. If you've watched the video to this point, you're a legend and I'm impressed. So thank you for that. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for what comes next.